All right, I think we're ready to go. He is in Las Vegas. I am at Nana's house. He is Zach Chandler. This is the betting booth, week 15. Before we get into last week and this week in Vegas, I know we're not coming home with the gold here or anything, but successful week at the poker tables, or are you a little disappointed?
Disappointed. A profitable week, but you always come to Vegas with hopes and dreams of bigger things. And we made a big day two in the poker tournament, which means you make a day two, then usually means you made profit in the tournament. And I did. We had a big spot yesterday. Got a bunch of chips in with the best hand and didn't win. And that's the game. And relating it to the sports betting, it's the same thing. We try to make the best bets every week, and you let the cards fall how they may. You let the games run out how they do. So disappointed. I was sad for a few hours yesterday, but you come back to being grateful. I've been on the other end of those beats in poker tournaments where I've had the worst hand and won the hand. So, I was hoping for a longer trip, but we'll be returning home with profit, but not exactly what we wanted.
It's okay. Hey, but you're right. I mean, you make money, you live to see another day. When's the next big Vegas tournament?
The next Vegas tournament probably won't be till the summer, the series, World Series of Poker, unless there's something comes up before then. Now, with all these circuit series in the United States, there's tournaments all over the country. There's great tournaments in Dallas. There's tournaments up north in Oklahoma. There's a great card room in Austin called The Lodge that just got approved for a WSOP event and a WPT World Poker Tour event next year. So there's a lot of events close to home. I really only come here for the big ones, which is in the summer, June and July, and then December has the WPT events. So probably won't be returning till the summer unless something comes up, and it might. So we'll see.
Never a bad time to just make an impromptu trip to Vegas. Did you, before we go to last week and before we focus on what's ahead, did you have anything last night? I didn't end up playing anything in the Atlanta Tampa game, but did you have anything?
I was pretty locked into the tournament and pretty beat afterwards, but I did make a small play on Atlanta. Felt lucky to get there on that game, and really was just a bet on the spot, Thursday night game, division game. Once the line went up to 6, I saw it, 20 minutes before kickoff, it ballooned from 4.5, 5 to 6 points. And I just thought that was too many points. So played Atlanta, got lucky with the run of that game, but it wasn't a huge play. Made a little money there.
Okay. So let's go back to last weekend. You had Kansas City lane 3, Baltimore lane 5.5, and Green Bay lane 6.5. You hit on Green Bay. The Baltimore game was just a total mess, and Houston surprised us. Because I was with you. I thought this was a good spot for Kansas City. So 1-2 with your 3 last week. I got absolutely obliterated by the Jets. I felt really good about the Jets. That was my first pick, 2.5.
Yeah.
I could it'd be easy to just say, hey, the Tyrod Taylor injury, just unlucky. But they weren't covering before Tyrod Taylor got hurt. Hit with Seattle, laying the 7. And then, so I played Chicago getting 7. You played Green Bay laying 6.5. We talked about that was our first head to head. And it worked out. I didn't win, but I pushed. Chicago lost by 7. And you got the cover there because Green Bay won by 7.
Right.
So 1-1 in 1 week for me, and 1-2 for you. We're going to try and go 6-0 here this weekend. I don't know how good you feel about this weekend slate of games, but I'm hoping for some good picks from both of us.
I feel pretty good. I mean, we got some tough breaks last week. I think I've been overvaluing this Ravens team. You look at the stats of that game, I think the Ravens rushed for 200 yards and the Steelers rushed for 17 carries for 34 yards. If you look at the box score, you think the Ravens should win that game easily. You had the likely touchdown that got called back. Even if he scores that touchdown, we probably don't cover. So that was an L regardless. The Chiefs game, you got the drop passes. You had that key holding call on third down in the first half when it was 3-3. Houston from their own 10 or 15, you get a holding call on third down. They go down and score a touchdown. That flips the game. I didn't feel that bad about the Chiefs play. I played Chiefs money line too, so I did take a hit on that game. And then I got lucky with the Packers. So, I escaped with 1 and 2. I played a bunch of games that I didn't put it in the 3 that we did well on. New Orleans was one of my biggest plays last week. We got there with that, but feel a little bit better about the games this week. Again, the Ravens, maybe I've been overvaluing that team, but I probably would play it again if they played the Steelers tomorrow. So not that upset with the plays. Again, you let the run out fall as it may, try to make the best plays we can, and we'll do that again this week.
And this is an interesting week, so I'm glad to hear you say you feel good about it, but you got a lot of big lines, and maybe that tends to happen this time of the year, but we have a number of quarterback injuries that unfolded on Sunday. Daniel Jones, so the Indianapolis, different quarterback situation. You've got the Jets now with a different quarterback situation. And it's led to some interesting lines here. So you got a lot of double-digit lines relative to what you expect, and then you got a lot of field goal and under lines. This is not a week for a ton of the 4 to 5 point lines.
Right.
And I'm curious your thoughts on this. When we make bets, we're making it based on a number of factors, right? Matchups, one of the factors. Looking at public versus sharp money, that's something to consider. And then there are the various narrative plays that, it's tough to quantify how much stock to put into that stuff. But right now, week 15, you've got teams that are playing for stuff, right? Whether it's they're playing for seeding, playing for division, or just playing to get in the playoffs, or in some cases, a combination of those. You've got teams that aren't playing for anything. But all of these teams, it's like a little bit of a different identity. So there's a team like the Jets. They're not playing for anything, but they haven't been playing for anything for a while. And then you got a team maybe like the Colts, and it's a different spot because of Daniel Jones's injury, but maybe they're not, and I guess they still are playing for something, but maybe they're 1 week away from not playing for anything at all, and they're demoralized because they had this in front of them, and now they're not playing for anything, right? So there's a difference to me in teams that aren't playing for anything. The teams that I don't want to say I'm scared by, but I think that, I still trust to compete in a weird way are the teams that suck because they haven't been playing for anything for a while. The teams that they've been playing for something, and this might be their first week where they're kind of out of it, and you're going to start to see more of those teams in the next couple of weeks. Those are the teams that scare me. How do they respond after the demoralization of we're not in it anymore? And I'm curious if you think about that at all.
It's really hard to make those evaluations from a betting perspective is if a team has, nothing to lose, or does the team has a quit on the coach and they don't give a shit anymore. A team like Arizona, they're a huge dog this week, 9.5. I'm hearing Gannon's out. They don't want Kyler anymore. Locker room sucks. So, it scares me a little bit about the line now, where usually that looks like a great value play. An Arizona team that has been playing hard the last few weeks, but then you hear whispers of that. It's really tough to evaluate. I do like some of the spots of the teams that don't have anything to play for and are being undervalued by the public. I think you can find some value in those lines. Like a team like New Orleans, they're playing hard, week to week. And the public doesn't like betting on them. I find value in teams like that. So really hard to tell, trend wise. I don't really put a lot of emphasis on, trying to read into that. I really just try to look at that number week to week in the spot, and then evaluate from there. I think every team is a little bit different. Miami, I thought they were, quit on McDaniel a month ago. We thought McDaniel's out at the end of the year. This team has nothing to play for. They bang off a few straight wins. Now they're one game under 500, and they're playing for stuff, and they're playing hard every week. So try not to read too much into the whispers of all that stuff, and just look into the spot and assume that these guys are professional football players and they're going to be playing hard. They're playing for their jobs. They're playing for money. They're playing for contracts. And so unless there's something really unique where I feel like a team has quit on their coach, I'm just going to look at the specific spot and the matchup.
Okay, I like it. So I guess because of my push, I control the board. I'll make the first play for this week, and I'm going to go back to a team we have talked a lot about, and I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. Now this line has changed a little bit. I actually played the Chiefs earlier this week at 4.5. I'm now seeing 5.5. I don't know if that's what you're seeing.
5.5. Yeah.
Okay. So I really like this. First of all, short week for the Chargers to whatever degree that comes into play. Chiefs backs against the wall here. I don't know if they're making the playoffs, but they almost certainly have to win out to make the playoffs, right? They get to 10-7. All right, maybe they get in. They're currently at 6-7. I just think it's really tough. Like you always talk about within a game, it's not easy to put good teams away. You don't want to let a good team hang around. If, they get off to a slow start, you got to put them away when you can. I think it's the same for a team like the Chiefs within the course of a season. And I don't think they're going to be an easy out here. The other thing we saw with Justin Herbert, he's playing with one hand, and ball control, ball security, not a strength. And the Chiefs can get to the passer, especially against this Chargers team with all their offensive line injuries. We've talked about all year with Rashawn Slater from training camp, and then Joe Alt got hurt, came back, and then got hurt again. He's out. So their two best linemen are gone. Their line in general is beat up. To me, I think there's, worry about like if I'm playing the Charger side, which I'm not, I'm worried about a Justin Herbert turnover to change the course of the game because he gets hit. He's not able, and also temperature, weather. This is a Chiefs home game. It's going to be cold. I'm not just because the team's from Los Angeles doesn't mean the players aren't equipped to play in the cold, but the Chiefs, these guys are used to doing that. And the cold weather, I don't think helps a guy like Justin Herbert in this spot. So I really like the Chiefs. I loved it at 4.5, and I still really like it at 5.5. So my first play is going to be Kansas City laying the 5.5 against the Chargers. I'm not ready to quit on the Chiefs. I know that they let us down last week, but I think this is a really good spot for them.
I love it. This would have been my first play or second play. I hadn't decided if it was going to be my first pick, but this is usually a number where you look at it and you'd be on the Chargers. I think Herbert in his career as a dog has a great record. He's 11-3 against the spread as a dog of 3.5 or more. So in this spot, you would look at it and take the Chargers. But like you said, he's playing with one hand. If you looked at that Philly game, Philly should have won that game. I mean, I didn't play that game, actually. I stayed away. Philly should have won that game handily. If Jalen Hurts doesn't throw 4 picks, Herbert's doesn't look right with the one hand. They've got, in that game, they lost a couple more backup offensive linemen that got hurt. So now you get the backup to the backup playing in this game with Chris Jones coming at you. And the public has, like I said last week, and it's part of the reason I played the Chiefs last week, the public's left the Chiefs for dead. 70% of the bets coming in this game are on the Chargers. The Sharps still like this team, and the line moved from 4.5 to 5.5 despite all this money coming in on the Chargers. So the books are telling you that the Chiefs are the right side. I would agree with you here. The Chiefs, 17 consecutive games they won one-score games. They won 17 one-score games. This year they're 1-6 and 0-7 against the spread in one-score games. The variance has got to flip for us at some point. So I'm with you on this one. I've already played it at 4.5. I played it. I would play it at 5.5. I'd play it all the way up to 6 if you can get it. So if you can get it 5.5 still, I'd play it. I could see it getting up to 6 by Sunday.
Yeah. All right. And I was just looking. I have seen there are some books that are already at 6 now. The juice isn't heavy, so but that's good to know. So depending on when people are watching this, you might not be watching it while it is available at 5.5, but you would still play it up to 6. So
I would still play that up to 6. Yeah.
So take that in consideration. I would as well. But yeah, if you can find a 5.5, jump on that now because they're, that half point, that's a key number right there at 6. If you can get that, then go and grab it. All right, your first pick.
First pick, since you took Kansas City, is going to be the Rams. And this is a game I played early in the week as well when it was lower. I'm seeing 5.5 on some books now, 6 on some books. Still like it at 6, even all the way up to 6. But I have it at 4.5 earlier this week. Maybe we got to start doing the show a little early in the week so we can get the fans
good numbers.
Some good numbers. But I still like it at this number. I love this spot for the Rams. And that's this Lions team, like we've talked about, has been seesawing all year. Since October 5th, every game they've won, they've lost the next game. And I told everyone not to take the Cowboys last week. I didn't play Detroit, but I didn't play the Cowboys in that game. Unlike the Cowboys, the Rams can take advantage of everything Detroit isn't good at, and that's their secondary. They can stop the run. They haven't let a 100-yard rusher the whole year, but McVay knows what they're not good at, and that's their secondary. Now they lost Brian Branch in their last game, so you've got the best receiver and receiver quarterback trio in the league. Stafford, Puka Nacua, you could say he's the best receiver in the league. If you don't say it's JSN, it's probably Puka Nacua, and then you got Devontae Adams against a depleted secondary where McVay is just going to pound. They use the pass almost as the run in those big jumbo boxes with all the tight ends and, the 13 personnel. He's going to be matched up really well for this team. McVay, since 2021 in December, I said last week, he just crushes in December. I should have been in one of my 3 last week. 16-3 against the spread since 2021 in December. So when the rubber meets the road late in the year, McVay crushes. And the public is still coming in on the Lions because of the number. 60% of the bets coming in are on the Lions. The Lions moving towards the Rams. This is a different class of team. Great spot for the Rams. So I like it all the way up to 6, and that'll be my number 1 pick. Okay,
so a couple questions for you here. And I like this play as well. I do like the Rams. But I asked you about the narrative stuff. I want to ask you about this. There are 2 teams, or I guess 3 teams, or 4, I guess, because they play. There are 2 games, I should say, next week that are big games for teams, the Rams and the Seahawks and the Bears and the Packers, where divisions can all be determined by those matchups. Both of those games are short weeks. Seahawks Rams is a Thursday night, and then Packers Bears is a Saturday, so not as short of a week. Do you ever put any stock into, hey, like the Bears, for instance? The Bears have a pretty big number this week. They're laying 7.5. That maybe they would rest guys early or play the game with any sort of a look ahead deficit this week because of the big matchup they have next week. I know we talk about this in college football a lot. Like, I feel like, let down games or look ahead spots is more prevalent in college football. In the NFL at all, for if someone's interested in betting the Packers, the Bears, the Seahawks, or the Rams this week, given what they have next week, is that coming to play at all whatsoever for you?
I think it for sure comes into play. You call those sandwich games where you have a game in the middle, of right before or after a key game. I do look at the trends and I look at the coach and the squad. For the Rams, with a guy like McVay and this team that's been in these spots many times, and you look at their record in these spots, it doesn't seem to affect them as much. A team like Chicago, a younger team, don't really have a lot of data on Ben Johnson, but since 2019, Chicago's 1-8 against the spread in the games they play after the Packers. So the game they play after this emotional game with the Packers, their rivalry, for whatever reason, the next week they don't perform well against the spread, and they underplay against the line. So a team like Chicago, again, is this the same Chicago team it was 5 years ago? It's a different quarterback. It's a different coach. But you look at those spots where, this team against this rival, they tend to perform bad afterwards. Again, a team like the Rams in the month of December with Seattle on deck, I don't play a huge amount into it, especially Detroit's coming off an emotional game with Dallas. Basically every game Detroit plays at this point is a playoff game. So they're coming off a big spot. They're going to be in a big spot pretty much every game the rest of the year if they want to make the playoffs. So yeah, I do look at it. Again, it's pretty coach and team dependent. But it's important to look at those trends and see if there's a drop off for these teams in those spots.
Because, and the reason I ask, one of the games I'm considering playing, and this is a big number, is the Seattle Indy game. I just, Indy's going to run out Phillip Rivers or Riley or whoever they're running out. I don't, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't hate that number. I just wonder if Seattle does get up big because they're playing on a short week on Thursday, and they've got business taken care of, right? It's not, it's not their responsibility to worry about us and the line. That's one of the hesitations. 13.5 is a big number. Do they call off the Dogs in any way, shape, or form? So I'm not going to play that game yet.
What the hell are we doing with this Phillip Rivers stuff? I mean, it's
an
amazing NFL where we can be talking about Phillip Rivers coming in, a 44-year-old. Everyone wants to talk about health, conduct, and changing the kickoff rules, but then we roll out a 44-year-old guy off the streets. I don't know about that game.
He's a grandfather.
Yeah, it's insane. But I honestly want to play the Colts in that game just because I think the line adjustment is crazy, and I think it's going to get to 14, and the line would have been probably 4.5 or so if Daniel Jones is in there. You're telling me the next quarterback up is a 10-point difference from Daniel Jones. Seems like a lot, but I also don't really want to have money if Phillip Rivers is, facing a pass rush in the late in the fourth quarter down by 14. So I don't know what to think about that game. It is a letdown spot for the Seahawks, but now that Phillip Rivers is coming in, there's all this excitement about it. Maybe they're up for the game now. I would think if either the Seahawks or Rams are in a sandwich game and might be looking ahead, I would say it's the Seahawks that I'd be a little bit more worried about. The Rams in a matchup with the Lions, Goff against Stafford, Campbell against McVay. I don't think the Rams are going to be asleep at the wheel in this game, especially 2 weeks ago, losing, they were a little bit asleep at the wheel against the Panthers. I think McVay is going to have them ready for this game. So I like the spot for the Rams. Haven't decided on the Seahawks game. Kind of want to play the Colts more just because of the line adjustment than anything. I think I'm going to stay away. I'm having a tough time deciding where I want to go with my next pick. You were going to go with the Seahawks, weren't you? No. I was going to push that, and they were going to maybe be my third. They're like 3 different teams that might be my third pick. And I feel pretty good that you're too smart to even consider any of them, and the Seahawks are one of those teams. I'll tell you, I'll be honest. Right now, for this pick, I'm considering the Saints, and I'm considering the Bears, even though that's a decent sized number. I think though, and I think this might be my first playing the Packers. I am a Packers fan, but I think I'm going to play the Packers. No,
were you going to take them?
How do you do it? Yes.
Yeah, I started, and this is one. It's funny. You said maybe we should do this earlier in the week, and if we did this Monday or Tuesday, I would have taken the Broncos. And the reason why, I'll present the other side. The Broncos are a home dog. Yeah. It's not an easy place to play. Yeah. Green Bay's coming off 3 straight division games. Is there a little bit of a letdown spot? And the Bears next week. If Green Bay loses this game, first of all, in no way will tiebreakers, common opponent, I guess, potentially, but you think of like the primary tiebreaker, it's division. Secondary, and if it's for a non-divisional tiebreaker, it's conference. So this is a non-divisional, non-conference game, and you've got the Bears next week. If the Packers beat the Bears next week, it doesn't matter what happens here in the Broncos game, then they are in full control to win the NFC North. And the Packers haven't been great on the road, but this is not a big number, and ultimately I'm playing the Packers. One of the things
Packers are 5-1 on the road this year.
No, but they play with their food. Yeah. They listen. They've only lost 3 games. They've been winning wherever. I should have used that qualification. You're right. They've had some bigger numbers on the road, haven't covered. But what does Denver do really well defensively? Well, two things. One, they can lock you up in man. They don't play a ton of zone, and that's where Jordan Love really thrives, is against man defense.
Right.
And he's great. He's actually been really good under pressure. And Denver good at getting pressure on the quarterback, but that's not really what has given Jordan Love problems. And I don't like Bo Nix. I don't like him at all. He has pissed me off this year because I've been so adamant that this guy sucks, and he just puts up these fake numbers. But like,
he's been great in the fourth quarter. He's been great in the fourth quarter all year.
Yeah, and so what can I say? Yeah, no. Like he's a part of why it pisses me off because he's proven me wrong all year. He's like, I'm still not buying any stock in Bo Nix. Like, if I'm the Broncos, you're kind of maybe in a weird spot because you can't turn against Bo Nix at this point. But like, how many people in that building really believe he's the guy? I don't know. But here's the other thing: they've won 10 in a row. I'm okay fading a team as they're going for their 11th straight win. Their offense just isn't that great, and Green Bay seems to really be clicking right now. So I'm gonna play the Packers. Now, this is an interesting one because the numbers changed a little bit. I don't know what's your read on, like, is this one you jump on now or is this one you wait? Because it's been at 2.5. I'm now seeing it 2. Is this a number you could see getting to 1.5, or do you think 2's the floor for it?
I think 2's the floor for it.
Okay.
I don't see it getting to. If it gets to 3, the pros will bet it down back to 2.5. Immediately, if it gets to 3, you'll see a lot of sharp money coming in on Denver and bring it down to 2.5. So I don't think you'll see it get, if it's at 2.5 and you want to play Green Bay, I would probably wait, see if you can get to 2. If it gets to 3, I would be shocked that it stays at 3 before kickoff. But it's a unique spot. Denver's 10 straight wins, like you said. It's the Patriots and Denver are at home this week on 10 straight wins, and they're both dogs this week, which is a super unique spot. And since 2005, teams coming off 10 straight wins who are a dog at home, 2-7 against the spread in this exact spot. So when the books make a team that's going for their 10th straight win, a dog at home, you got to look at it. And like you said, I think these two teams are really similar in a lot of ways. It's just Green Bay's better in every category slightly. Green Bay's defense is rated power ratings higher than Denver. Their offense is rated higher than Denver. I think Peyton is a good coach. I think LaFleur is a better coach. Love over Nix. If you're comparing those two quarterbacks, I'd rather have Love than Nix. So every spot I favor Green Bay. I think they're in a better conference. Denver has one of the worst strength of schedules in the NFL. They haven't really been tested that many times this year. And yeah, Denver's 6-0 at home this year. So you have to look at their home splits. They're a really good home team, but I like taking the better team here. I think on a neutral field, Green Bay should be like a 4.5, 5-point favorite. So you're saying Denver's home field is a 3-point advantage. I think that's too much. I'll take the better team here, and basically if we win by a field goal, we get the cover. So I like this. I would have taken this as my next pick. Love this spot for Green Bay. I think they're a more complete team than Denver, and I'd rather have money on Love than on Bo Nix.
All right, so we're in agreement so far in all 3 of our picks. The 2 I've made, the 1 you've made, and now you're making number 2.
Yeah, now, wow, this is really throwing me off. You've taken 2 of my picks. So we're going to have to go to the gross one. The New Orleans Saints. Currently plus 2.5 against the Panthers. And this is one where I would wait because there's so much money coming in on Carolina. The books are taking tons of money on Carolina, and at some point they're going to need money on New Orleans. If 90% of the bets are coming in on the Panthers, they're going to need some New Orleans money. So I could see this pop to 3 by Sunday, and if it pops to 3, I'll be all over it at 3. I will play it at 2.5 if it doesn't pop, but I'm going to wait till before kickoff. Bryce Young has played 11 games in his career as a favorite. What do you think his record is in those 11 games?
Against the spread?
Against the spread and straight up.
Before I answer, I'll tell you I'm going to give it to you at 3 because I am seeing it a couple books at 3.
I love it.
So I'll give it to New Orleans getting 3, and then I'll say 2 and 9.
0-11.
Oh, okay.
0-11 straight up. 0-11 against the spread.
Wow.
As a favorite in his career.
Well, okay. So someone's asking, like, what do you take from that trend? Like, all right, like on the surface, all right, well, Bryce Young's not good again as a favorite, whatever. What does that tell you? If that, like, we talked about some of the, like, Tyrod Taylor, how he's a dog
Right.
and he's just constantly undervalued. Well, what does it tell you when you got a quarterback who's been that poor straight up and against the spread as a favorite?
Right. One, he hasn't been a favorite that many times in his career. And two, when teams start overvaluing this Panthers teams, they don't really perform well. So, we've backed them a few times this year as a dog when they're being undervalued. But when they get overvalued as the darling, up and coming team, they just seem to not cover that number for whatever reason. So doesn't tell me a ton specifically. This is a new coach this year. They haven't been a favorite that often, but for whatever reason, when they get overvalued by the public, they don't perform according to the numbers. So the Saints, again, don't really know what to make of Tyler Shuck yet, if he's the quarterback of the future, but I do like this matchup for the New Orleans defense up front against the Panthers. They've always given them trouble, and we've seen these NFC South games. You saw it last night with Tampa and Atlanta. They play close games. New Orleans has been playing hard, and this is really about playing the number here. Public's 90% on the Panthers. Like I said, the line has barely budged. Now it's popped to 3. So this is the gross one. Didn't know if I was going to go with it, but you took the Chiefs and the Packers. I like this spot. This is also weird one. Tyler Shuck 200-1 to win rookie offensive MVP right now. I know that sounds crazy, and it's a long shot bet, but the Saints play the Panthers, the Titans. I think they play the Jets, and they have one other shitty game. If he somehow wins out and he throws like 6 or 7 TDs and 1 pick, who are they going to give offensive MVP to for rookie of the year? I guess Jackson Dart, Tetero McMillan. Those are the 2 favorites. He's probably not going to win, but there is.
But if he has 4 big games, and Falcons are the other. That's the other game.
There is like a long shot chance that he just like throws 7 TDs over the next 3 or 4 weeks and 1 pick, and somehow, there's a reason it's 200-1, but it's a fun little sprinkle if you want to go for some long shots. So I'll play the Saints. I'm going to wait. Like I said, I'll probably play it at 3, but if I see, maybe we'll get 3.5 at this point with the way the line's moving and the amount of money pouring on the Panthers. So like this spot for a home dog against a quarterback who's never covered as a favorite in his career.
I like it as well. Yeah. And, one of the things too, the Saints don't have like this amazing defense, but they rank 11th in the NFL in EPA per play. And the Panthers rank 26. So this is a Saints team defensively that should be able to, especially at home, give Bryce Young some problems. And, if you feel like the Saints need a little help offensively, maybe you're not a Tyler Shuck believer, which is, understandable if you're not. This is not a great defense that he's going up against. And specifically against the run, the Saints have been really, really good. And it seems like even though Bryce Young's had some impressive games statistically throwing the ball, this Panthers team can really give you problems when their combo with Hubbard and Rico Dowdle get going on the ground. But this is a Saints team that kind of takes that away from you. And then the Panthers, on their end defensively, you look at the Saints really don't run the ball well at all, but the Panthers aren't good at stopping the run. So I do like this. And now this puts me in a spot for my 3rd game. There's some good games on the docket, like New England and Buffalo. I don't this is one, and I got burned by this last week. We talked about, I just don't see this team or that team losing or missing the playoffs. It's tough for me to envision that, Buffalo loses another one, but I don't know that I love the matchup. So I'm going to stay away from that one. The Jets, that's to me too big of a number for Jacksonville for me to love it. Do we go back to the Ravens? Well, I mean, just something seems so off there. Like, I don't know what to do with that one. I'm really struggling to figure out this third game. I think I'm going to do this. And I don't know why. This is probably a really dumb play.
Las Vegas.
I'm actually going to go on the other side of that. I'm going to take the Eagles.
Wow.
And I'm going to justify it by this. And this is not the best way to justify anything for a team, especially one like the Eagles that, they just seem totally lost offensively. They're laying. What are you seeing it at? What number? Because I know I've seen it 11.5, and I've also seen it up to 12.5. So you tell me. You name the number.
So I'm seeing 11.5 currently.
Okay. So I'll take it at 11.
I'll give you the good number there.
Yeah, I'll take it 11.5. And here's my thought. And not that Geno Smith was any good, but they're going to Kenny Pickett. The Raiders don't run the ball well. And the Eagles, up until that Bears game, it seemed like it was tough to run against them. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if I see the Raiders getting to a number that I don't think the Eagles could get to in order to cover. Like, I don't see the Raiders getting to 17 points. If you told me right now the Raiders are going to score 17 points, I'm staying away from this because I don't want to bet on Philadelphia scoring 29 points. But I'll give the Raiders 2 touchdowns. Let's say they get to 14 points, and I don't even know that they're going to get there, but let's say they get to 14 points. I'll bet on Philadelphia getting to 26. I feel okay about that. I really kind of think that the Raiders probably settle in somewhere between 10 and 13 points. I don't know what about the matchup that I love for the Eagles offensively, because I just don't know what to make of where they're at offensively, because they'll go through and they'll have like 2 drives where it's like, okay, I think they figured it out. And then they have 3 straight drives where like they don't even get positive yardage. For whatever reason, I don't love this. And I don't love betting a 12.5 or 11.5 point favorite with a low total. The over under I'm seeing is around like 38 to 39. It's usually not a good sign, but I'm gonna take the Eagles against my better judgment. I'm taking the Eagles, my final pick, laying 11.5.
I haven't played this game. I would think the flip side to this game is the Eagles coming off an overtime game, playing in a short week. They just played a physical game against the Chargers, and now they're on a short week with this big number. It's a little bit of a scary number. Teams coming off overtime games on short weeks. There's all sorts of splits show not good record against the spread. But we don't really know what to make of this Raiders team with Kenny Pickett. They're still not going to be able to run the ball. We don't think Kenny Pickett's really going to change that offense that much. So a little bit scary with that big of a number coming off an overtime game. So right now, a stay away from me, especially the line moved a little bit towards Las Vegas, which is a little bit of a red flag for me. So a stay away. I could see why you would want to play this. You would think this Eagles team is going to get right at some point and just blow the doors off. Saquon will have one of his big days that we haven't seen in a while. And Jalen Hurts isn't going to throw 4 picks again. I mean, that was, one of the guys who protects the ball. Of all the things you want to say about Jalen Hurts, he protects the football other than last week. I mean, the Eagles fans are crazy. You're hearing this week, like, people calling for Jalen Hurts' job. It's
so silly.
It's like this guy just won you a Super Bowl. So I think the Eagles could get right here. I think it's a little bit too big of a number right now for me to play it, but I could see why you would like it. So that'll be a stay away for me for now.
All right, what's your 3? I'm curious where you're going here.
So it's going to be between 3 games. And the 3 games, Buffalo, Miami, or the Browns, which is the really gross one. And I really don't want to put Shador in the contest or whatever we call our 3 picks. And I've been fading the Bears so much on here that I'm gonna rule the Browns out because I just, all the Chicago fans that are watching give me shit every week. We'll keep fading Chicago out of here. The Pittsburgh one's weird because Pittsburgh has this crazy Monday Night Football record. They're like 22-0 on Monday Night Football straight up. It's at home. It's crazy. And Rodgers is
and
like
you got
11-2 on
and
Monday
you
Night
got
Football.
two in the cold again. I know
Two
that
in
they
the
won in the
cold.
cold last week, but
2 in the cold.
Yeah.
I didn't give the stat out last week because I didn't have all my stats in front of me. When it's under 40 degrees, Tua is 0-5 straight up, 1-4 against the spread, losing games by 19 points a game when it's 40 degrees or less. That's how bad he is in the cold. But I don't want to bet on Pittsburgh. And I like Miami at 3.5 in the game. I'm probably going to play it. But I'm going to go with Buffalo against my better judgment. I've been telling a lot of sharps have been telling me they like New England in this game. I'm going to tell them to F off and that I'm rolling with Josh Allen in this game. And it's more of a bet on Josh Allen than anything in the cold. In these conditions, he's played in these frigid conditions a lot more than Drake May has. That rushing attack with Josh Allen and James Cook should be able to get theirs in these conditions. And Josh Allen doesn't lose to teams twice in the same year. It's happened one time, and it was to Tom Brady in like 2019. And Josh Allen got hurt in one of those games. I think Matt Barkley played in one of those games in the second half, and they lost to the Patriots twice that year. So since then, he's never lost to the same team twice in the same year. This line moved. It was Buffalo 1.5, then it moved all the way to New England favored. Now it's back to Buffalo 1.5. If it moves any closer to New England, I'll play Buffalo at the 1 number, or if New England becomes a favorite, I'll play Buffalo again. But maybe I'm undervaluing this Patriots team. I've said it on a few teams. I think they're overvalued. I still see a lot of holes in this team, in their rushing attack and their run defense. And I don't think there's been a lot of teams that could take advantage of those holes. I think Buffalo is one of those teams. Some of the trends will tell you Drake May is great in this. He's 3-0 against the spread against Josh Allen. Vrabel's 6-1 straight up against the spread after a bye. So Vrabel's usually ready for these games. But I like Josh Allen here. I can't see Buffalo not making the playoffs. And I think we're going to get one of those Josh Allen Superman games. So some of the trends will tell you New England's sharp here. This is a pure Josh Allen play for me, and thinking that New England is still a little bit overvalued by the public. I gave the stat earlier about the 10 straight wins. New England's in that same spot. 10 straight wins, a home dog, very bad against the spread, against the best quarterback in the league. So the Buffalo defense scares you when you bet on them. They're going to be a little scary, but in these frigid conditions, I hope we can get a lackluster performance at a Drake May for this bet. So I'll play Buffalo. I don't know what line you're seeing. I'm seeing 1.5 at most books right now. So I think we'll lock it in at 1.5.
And one of the things that, I agree with, what you said. One of the things we've talked about is how Buffalo has just done such a disservice to Josh Allen, not giving him a true receiver weapon. Like Khalil Shakir, it's nice, he's fine, but like, gosh, it would be nice if Josh Allen, he had Stephon Diggs, if he had someone like that. But that little 2-headed tight end monster that they now have healthy with Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid did pretty well. I was just looking up the numbers right now against Cincinnati. 10 catches, over 130 yards for those two combined. So maybe they've got a little something there with the tight end situation. I like it as well. Typically New England coming off a bye at home, you'd think, all right, this is a Patriots side. And I do think the Patriots are good. And maybe shame on me, I'm not buying. Like we're both fading two teams that have 10-game winning streaks with small spreads. So like I guess it's possible that the Patriots lose and cover and the Broncos lose and cover, but we're betting on those winning streaks to come to an end, and I'm okay with that because you just don't see. There's too much parity in this league to see teams unless they're like, the Peyton Manning Colts or hell, the Peyton Manning Broncos or the Brady Patriots or that one year where the Packers won 15-1 when the year after they won the Super Bowl. Like, and what do those three teams have in common? You got Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, three of the best quarterbacks of all time. Now, and Drake May maybe one day will be in that conversation. He's year 2. He's looked really good. He's obviously an MVP candidate, but do I feel great about Drake May or Bo Nix getting me an 11th straight win? I mean, now, in fairness, I said that after the 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th, and we're still here. But, at some point, the string's got to run out. So I like that as well. So to recap, you're going the Rams laying 5.5, right? That's the number. New Orleans getting 3, Buffalo laying 1.5.
I do see one on my book right now that I could bet on Buffalo.
For Buffalo? Okay.
Buffalo.
All right.
You see one, which is a little bit scary that it's moving a little bit towards New England, but I'm not surprised to see some sharp money coming in on New England. So this is probably a little bit of a public side, which is rare for me to be. It's a little bit split, but I would say the public is probably going to come in a little bit more on Buffalo in this game. So I'm seeing one. He does get Dalton Kincaid back in this game. So that's another reliable target. He will have another weapon out there. If Drake May comes at this game, I know it's one game, but this game to me will say a lot about the future of this division over the next couple of years. If Drake May comes out and they just win this game by a touchdown, I may have to change my tune a little bit about the value of this Patriots team. So, but we'll ride with it. So, one.
That's fair. Okay. And then I got Kansas City laying 5.5, Green Bay laying 2, and then my dipshit play of the week is Philadelphia laying 11.5. I feel like I just have one of these plays where it's like I can't explain it, but I don't feel good about it. But
Kenny Pickett revenge game. I'd be careful.
Kenny Pickett, that's right. Yeah. Former Eagle and Pitt Panther. All right, we did this last week. Let's quickly do it again, especially because we have a bunch of big dogs. So more than one possession dogs. You got the Cardinals getting 9.5. You got the Raiders getting 12.5. The Jets getting 13. The Colts getting 13.5. The Titans getting 12 against the Niners. If you had to pick one of those teams to win outright, who are you taking?
Did you put the Browns in there?
Okay. Yeah, they're at 7.5.
I'm not going to play the Browns to win. Even though, that's the lowest line, so that'd be the easiest one to pick. I'll take Arizona, and I don't know what to make if this. Like I said before, I've heard some stuff about Gannon. I think Kyler's and Gannon both might be hitting the road at the end of the year, but this Texans team's never been this big of a favorite because their offense can't score. So now 9.5 with CJ, CJ in his last 22 games, the under is 17-5, and this year the under in Houston games is 10-3. So if you want to just blindly play the under in that game, might be a good call. But because it's such a low scoring game, I think there's some value in sprinkling the money line there. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it, but if you're going to give me any of those games, I could see a clunker from Houston. And Brissett's been pretty good. They're getting Marvin Harrison Jr. back in that game. If they come out and want to play competitively, I could see that being a one-possession game. So of all those games, I'd pick that. There is the Sharps love Tennessee this week. I don't think to win the game, but at that number, Kyle Shanahan, surprisingly off a bye, has really bad splits. 1-5 against the spread since 2021. 0-3 against the spread after a bye against teams under 500. So for whatever reason, the 49ers teams, when they play shitty teams after a bye, they tend to not perform well. So if you wanted to play that, that's a sharp bet. But if the money line wise to win outright, I'd take Arizona of those.
Yeah, and listen, these are some big numbers. There's a reason why the numbers are big. None of what we say is going to sound great or smart. I guess the only team remaining, one of those big numbers that has their starting quarterback is Tennessee. San Francisco's defense isn't great. I'm not playing Tennessee to win or anything, but I guess I would play Tennessee plus 500 if I was forced to play one of those. All right, there you go. Betting booth week 15. We'll probably be back on schedule next week. And we'll see how we did this weekend. Hopefully you get your bets in now and have a profitable week. Because like what Zach said at the beginning, whether it's poker or gambling on sports, you come out in the black, you can feel okay about it, even if you don't run the table this week. So hopefully you make some money. Thanks so much for joining us. The betting booth with Zach Barron. I'm Jared Sandler. We'll talk to you next week.